Awaken to hair growth. Awaken to hair growth because there is possibility to get your hair back. Awaken to hair growth because we're not told that we're able to conquer and overcome alopecia. Awaken to hair growth because I want to be a positive light and beacon for you because I've healed my alopecia and now I help others do the same with different types of alopecia, men, women, children of all ages, of all races and ethnicities. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Alopecia Angel podcast, Awaken to Hair Growth. I'm your host, Johanna Dalma, and today I have a client question, which was a brilliant question. Is there any one type of hair loss that sees better results in less time, or that can heal in less time, or that can heal, quicker amongst other types of hair loss? And what I told my client is that no, there isn't one type of hair loss that can see radical results in less time. It's really an individual process. So for example, it's like saying how many of you can study certain material and pass the test 100% with 100% flying colors. And, not all of us are going to be able to pass the test 100%. Maybe we get one wrong. Maybe we get two things wrong. Maybe we get a few things wrong, right? It's still an A, or it's still considered a B or a B plus, but it's not 100%. And that's what this is all about. Alopecia hair loss has to do with you. It has to deal with your blind spots, and it's your healing journey. Just because you are classified or labeled as scarring alopecia, alopecia areata, alopecia totalis, alopecia universalis, telogen effluvium, androgenetic alopecia, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It doesn't matter the label. What matters here is the consistency, your dedication, your willingness, and the desire to move over the obstacles and the challenges. Because lo and behold, we all have blind spots. If you don't know what a blind spot is up until now, I would say go back and review episode number 3, I believe it is, 3 or 4. And this will identify and help you understand what blind spots are. But just because, let's say, a room full of 20 people with telogen effluvium, or a room full of 20 people with alopecia areata, or scarring alopecia, or alopecia universalis, doesn't mean we all have the same blind spots. Not at all. It's completely different. And in reality, what I see after seeing hundreds and hundreds of clients is that we all have very different blind spots, each one of us, which has led us to our different types of alopecia or different types of hair loss. But that doesn't mean we all have the same root cause. That doesn't mean we all have the same blind spots. No, not at all. It's completely different for everybody. And not only that, but it's those same blind spots that, of course, will hold you back from seeing the hair growth, from seeing the success. So you can have something so small, like a cold. Let's say a cold. You caught a cold from work, school, etc., and it's been lingering. And I can get over a cold in less than 5 days. And let's say my mom can get over a cold in 10 days, maybe 2-3 weeks. But then lo and behold, somebody else, my family, it takes them 3 months to get over this same cold. Why is that? It's because we all have different A, immune systems, B, we all have different ways of healing and taking care of ourselves. And at the same time, we also have different strategies and approaches. So once you get aligned with the right strategy and the right approach for you, and this is why the number one portion of my program is evaluation and customization, because it has to be 100% customized and evaluated for you. If it's not, then it's like you're going to be chasing your tail. And this is another reason why we go back to the evaluation, the customization portion of it. Because if not, you can take 3 months or longer to heal when you could have healed this in less time. Does that make sense? So giving you this example of a cold, even just within the same family, we all heal at different times, right? 5 days for me, let's say 10 to 14 days for my mom. And let's say somebody else in my family will take them 2 to 3 months. But it's all about the approach, the strategy, how we do our dedication to healing, and, the consistency. And of course, looking at those blind spots, right? And so this is key. And it always is going to come back. It's always going to come back. And the funny thing is that I'm sure you've heard this said many, many times, is that when the universe presents a problem or a challenge in your life, It's given it to you so that you can overcome it. And if you continue to see the same problem and the same problem over and over again, it's because you haven't learned the lesson. It's because you haven't learned what needs to be learned. And this was a hard pill for me to swallow, because if you know my story, you know that I looked and felt like I was the definition of health when I got alopecia. And yet it happened to me. And now it's happening to you. And so I say this very humbly, that alopecia was an extremely humbling situation for me, because again, I thought I was at the peak level of fitness, peak level of health, and I wasn't. I got it all wrong. And the same thing goes for the doctors who I see, the nurses, the personal trainers, the nutritionists, the dietitians. There's always something there holding us back. And until you uncover that blind spot, until you uncover it, you will continue to struggle. Let me say that again. Until you uncover your blind spots, you will continue to struggle. And unfortunately, that's what that is. And it may not be one thing now. Maybe it's alopecia now, but maybe this blind spot will hold you back so much. Well, it will continue to deteriorate your health mentally, emotionally, physically, right? Just like the cold. If you let it linger, it can get to a bronchitis. If you let it linger, it can get to a pneumonia. And this is why treating the cold right where from the start is the best thing to do. So going back to the question that the client posed to me, is there a one type of hair loss? Is there a one type of alopecia that can heal quicker in less time, or that is easier to heal versus others? And I would say, no, there isn't. It's all the same. It's all the same playing field. Just like if we were to all to be in one group of hair loss, any type of hair loss, give it any label you want, including scarring, give it any label you want. And I've seen the hair growth out of all of these different types of labels, different types of diagnoses. I've seen it, and I've seen it happen the majority of the time, less than 8 weeks. Why? Desire, dedication, consistency, following the program, understanding blind spots, understanding the hiccups, right? And the troubleshooting those problem areas. That's what this is all about. It's getting to your blind spots. And this is not a compare and contrast between my blind spots or somebody else's. This is figuring out yours, because yours can be something completely different. And more than likely it is. So I leave you with that. There is no one type of hair loss that is easier or easiest. It all depends on the person, right? How much you do, how bad you want it, and how far are you willing to go to overcome these obstacles and blind spots that you have. That's what this is all about. It's about you. And in one way, it is a hair growth journey. And in another way, it's also a lot of self-development, because sometimes these challenges are brought to us for a reason. And they're brought to us because we need to overcome them. You know, life is very much like a video game. And in order to get to the second level and the third level and the fourth level, what do you have to do? You have to win. You have to win that first level. You have to win that second level and the third level until you can keep going, right? I used to love Super Mario when I was a kid, and I used to play Super Mario all the time. And what happened? I was stuck. I was stuck at level 2. I could never get past level 2. Level 1 was a breeze. I could do it in my sleep. Level 2, hard, challenging. And every time I tried to win, I couldn't, which did what? It didn't allow me to get to the next level. It didn't allow me to get to level 4. It didn't allow me to win the game. You can't win this game of health and hair until you graduate, until you pass the first level, until you pass the second level. That's how this is. This is what this is all about. You have to learn and get to those next levels. And I will say that doing it on your own is really hard. And I can say this because I've been there and I've done that. It took me over 3.5 years. So if you want to take on the journey, take on that challenge of doing it by yourself, it's there. If you want to take on the journey and the challenge of doing it with somebody who's been there, done that, who can guide you, who can pick apart your challenges, who can pick apart your blind spots and uncover all this in less than 2 months, I'm your girl. So I look forward to hearing from you. Questions, comments, leave and rate a review for our podcast so we can get it out and reach more people who are suffering from hair loss, because suffering is optional. You don't have to suffer. You can heal this in less time, regardless of the type of hair loss you have. Thank you so much. Take care. Thank you for listening to the Alopecia Angel podcast, a positive light in healing alopecia. You can do this and we can help. Spread the word that reversing alopecia is possible by telling your friends and family.